the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning for this opportunity, and of course the whole faculty for being here. I acknowledge all my senior colleagues and the professor who just finished presenting. Well, when I saw the schedule, and I saw that I would be in the afternoon after lunch, I decided to modify my approach. But since we have not even eaten, but I know we are very tired, and we are experiencing some of the things that our students do experience in class. So we have to manage that kind of situation. One of the things we'll be looking at in this presentation. So we are going to do it. We are not just going to hear it. We are going to, like the mail that was sent was on Friday. You were asked to bring in your mobile devices with data. It was there. I saw a copy of the mail. Yeah. So this is a class that you can bring out your phones. So bring out your phones. For your own, well, you can share with others. So I expect you to bring out your phone, put on your data, and you will start the work. Our focus briefly will look at learning, active learning, technology enhanced learning, and under technology enhanced learning we look at three things: preparation, presentation, and assessment. It's going to be very, very brief, but we will be doing a lot of activities. So the first activity would be a learning activity. We want to find out what actually is learning. And I started from this direction because many people just feel so far there is technology in the classroom, then everything is okay. So far we have all the resources. So far we have internet. So far we have the projector. So far we have the laptop, then everything is okay. But I want to assure you that a bad teacher will be a bad teacher with technology. A terrible one will remain a terrible one with technology. So we have to get our pedagogy right, and that was what Professor Olawale was talking about, and the other speakers. We have to get it correct because our technology is just going to support what we already have as our pedagogy, and that's why we would look at learning. I want you first to take out your sheets of paper. It's inside your file and your biros, and I'm going to do a timing thing now. Please let everybody be part of it because that's the essence of coming here. Do you have your biros ready? Because I'm going to time. Are we ready? Okay, we've had a lot of things today. A lot of things about strategies, techniques, and so on. I want you in 1 minute to list 10 strategies for teaching. And your time starts now. Yes, what you have been, please on this, just put it. 10 strategies for teaching. Just list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 30 seconds. And 1. Thank you. cheating. You are allowed to cheat. Complete your 10 strategies. Complete your 10 strategies. I'm sure you did not all write the same thing, did you? Unless you didn't write. I can hear some laughter there. Maybe you were not writing. You wrote 7. So share so that you can make up 10. I expect you to make up your 10. If that person doesn't have enough, look for another person. Okay. We are going to have some people to reach their own. They are 10. The list of 10. Are we ready? Are we ready, please? Who is going to share? Who is going to share? Even if it's 5, you didn't do 10. Yes, there's somebody there. Many of us are not sure. Are these strategies or not? Maybe that's why. Okay. That's the hand there.
Thank you. I have as my strategies to first of all get to know my audience, not my students. When I say I want to know them, I want to know where they're coming from and all that. Then knowing what my students already know, knowing what teaching is and what teaching is not, knowing what learning is and what it is not, using resources efficiently and effectively, motivating my students, interacting with them, assessing them, empowering them, letting students be agents of their own learning.
You have worked very well, but I haven't spotted your strategy. You see why we need to be trained. Anybody who wants to support me, that I didn't see a strategy. If you want to.
Strategy 1, question and answer. Strategy 2, teacher giving instruction. Strategy 3, assignment. Strategy 4, teamwork. Yeah, I stop.
Oh, and you did well. Thank you.
And I can talk about game-based learning. Which is the strategy. I know about differentiated learning.
I think your background, so I know you can give us. Now, the first thing I said, bring out your mobile phones. Put data there. This is a class that you can use your phones. That is not an excuse, because I know in Nigeria we always find a solution around every problem. I expected that some people would have opened their phones. Strategies for teaching. Yes, in 1 minute, in a few seconds. Yes. Please clap for him because he tried it. You could just have Googled strategies for teaching and learning, and you would have seen quite a number of strategies. So we don't have to wait for the projector or the laptop or anything to do technology integration. Just like Professor Kalade was saying, if you get to a situation that students ask you some things and then you don't, you seem to be lost, let everybody bring out their phones, you can find out right here, and you all learn together. So that's just, the introduction to learning with technology. And when everybody learns together, you cooperate, you check what was the site that you went to, what did you find out, and so on. So those are that's just the beginning. So let's move on. I don't want to stick to this because I know I can feel my students already. So if I'm going to stick to this, then it's going to take quite a long time. Now, the whole essence is so that we will be able to support our teaching with technology. We want, even if it's lecture method, the lecture method has its own advantages of people criticize it, it's just one way and this. You can support it with technology to make it active. And that is why we want to look at active learning. I won't say much about it. It's in this film, it's a very short video. Please watch it with your Bible and your paper. Because we want to see what active learning is. Why should we use it in our classrooms? Especially, for now, we can't run away from large classes. When people talk of large classes in UI, I always say I've never had a small class. My class, the main one, starts from 200 and something since I started teaching the course. And last year, or last semester, they were over 800. We will see how we do it. They are so... Yes! Somebody is already interested in the calculation of the end allowance. Probably I mentioned it must be teamwork. That is a strategy that we use. All my PhD students go to class together. Because of the largeness of the class, I'm just waiting for them to do that. Because of the largeness of the class, it's very difficult to have a time that all the students will be in class. Because in the Faculty of Education, they take courses in all of that department. So they will come and tell me that in science, that's the time they put their practical. In the Faculty of Arts, that's the time they put one particular course, and they will listen to us when we get there and so on. So what I started doing was to create another class, a second class for them. And my PhD students are with me. I teach the large class. They take notes and they go to the other class and sit down. I sit down and they teach. So there are so many strategies, although it's a lot more work. But like Professor Ibadan was saying in the morning, he said, it is your passion that gives you energy. If the passion is not there, then you will see all these things as too much work without, the requisite pay. Especially because in UI, we have not gotten to the level of monetizing the extra things that we do as teachers, as we have been saying. Okay, we can go on. So I said we should watch this video with our biros, and paper.
What is active learning? First, active learning involves teaching techniques that are something other than straight lecture. Second, active learning is not an entire project or assignment, but a much smaller task you give your students. However, a project or assignment can have several active learning pieces within it. Third, in order to consider something active learning, students must be doing something including discovering, processing, and applying information, not just listening to a lecture or reading a PowerPoint. Active learning can take many different forms, and instructors often use different strategies in face-to-face and online classes due to their different approaches to teaching and learning. For example, in a classroom, the instructor might ask each student to turn to their neighbor and discuss a particular topic. In an online course, the same exercise can be accomplished using a discussion thread, document sharing, or instant messaging. The idea is the same, but the approach is different. So what about these examples are considered active learning? In our face-to-face class example, simply having students turn to their neighbor and discuss a topic is active learning. In the online course, having two students discuss the same topic via a discussion thread is active learning as well. Research shows that students learn more when they're engaged in active learning. It's important to remember that lecture does have its place in both face-to-face and online environments. However, during active learning, students are involved in much more than just reading or listening, and more emphasis is placed on higher order thinking skills, such as analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Further research has shown that students retain 70% of what they say and write, and they retain 90% of what they do. Compare this with the fact that students retain only 10% of what they read and 20% of what they hear, and you'll start to understand why active learning is so important. Now that we have an understanding of what active learning is and why we should implement it, let's look at some specific examples to give you a clearer picture of what constitutes active learning in practice. Let's take the example of a small group discussion. In a face-to-face setting, you might group students up and ask them to discuss a particular topic. While this alone is active learning, you can add to the exercise by asking each group to present their findings to the class in the form of a standard presentation, a radio or TV commercial, or a comedy skit. Now let's look at a small group discussion in an online course. You can group students into separate discussion threads and have them discuss a particular topic. Again, this alone can be considered active learning, but you can add to the exercise by having students present their findings using various Web 2.0 tools such as recording a presentation of a PowerPoint or Prezi, submitting a voice thread of audio and a series of images that relate to the topic, or present their topic in story format using Google Maps. As you can see, the possibilities are virtually limitless, so be creative. Both our face-to-face and online active learning examples cover the higher order thinking skills of analysis and synthesis, but what about evaluation? In this example, it would be quite easy to hold a peer review of each presentation. In a face-to-face class, you can simply have students give their opinions on how appropriate each group's observations were and how well they presented the information. This should spur more conversation with the guidance of the instructor. In an online course, peer reviews can be held using a simple discussion thread or a voice thread. So what about these examples are considered active learning? In our face-to-face and online class examples, the small group discussion is active learning, as is the preparation for the presentation itself, and the peer review of the presentation. Each step in the process is itself a distinct active learning strategy. Since students retain more information during active learning, simply stated, active learning equals better learning.
Okay. I know you have listened with your fork and your plates. For people on this side, they have been active with their mouths. So, we're going to ask ourselves some questions. And we're going to do it in sections. This is supposed to be a group thing. I'll try to just condense everything. I've been told that time. This first 3 rows, or yes, 1, 2, 3, okay, 4. From here, you are going to give us what is active learning from what you have listened to. The section at the back, you are going to give us what active learning is not. There are some 2 columns at that side. You are going to give us the rationale for using active learning. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you are going to give us techniques for using active learning. And the group that is busy with their fork and their food. Advantages of active learning. I think it's very appropriate for your group. Okay, so as much as you can discuss within those sections, please discuss those issues from what you have written. Even if it's 2 people, 3 people around you, just discuss it. But according to those groups, those are the areas that you would look at. What is active learning? At the back here, what active learning is not. At the end there, rationale for using active learning. On this side, yeah, you have techniques for using active learning, and at the back, advantages. Okay, I expect some discussion to go on. Don't sit alone. You can just turn around and speak to the person behind you. Rationale for using active learning. Okay. You are ready, and just wait. Okay. I don't know how you can do 2 active things at the same time, eating and this one is active eating. You are through? Are you through? Okay. You are through there. Let me just make sure. Are you through here? You are good to go. Is this group that I'm not sure at all? Very, very. You are okay. Okay. So you said you were right. Where's the? It's not. He will do it. Okay. Let's hear what active learning is.
Active learning is interactive learning.
As we are eating our food, please let's listen. Okay.
Active learning is interactive learning.
Okay.
And where the participants are involved with doing things, discussions, and then possibly maybe doing things together.
Okay.
What they are.
Okay, thank you very much. We clap for this group. The next group, were you active learning or? Oh, okay. So they've said everything you want to say. Any addition?
If you want the question, it could be a process. Okay, it could be application of what I've done.
Okay, thank you for that addition. Yes, the next group. What active learning is not? There's a hand there.
Okay, active learning, what it is not. It is not unidirectional.
Okay.
It is not unidimensional.
Okay.
And it is not unilateral. That is the summary of it.
I know I'm a faculty of arts.
Now, It is not unidirectional in the sense that it is not just a lecturer giving to the student.
Okay.
It is active. The student has to be active. It is not passive.
Okay.
So that means it is not.
But not active as in eating.
Well, I'm a part of it. If it's a different class, for
It's
instance.
not part of it.
If it's a different class, for instance, or food and nutrition class.
Okay, so no, this is our family of there's no meeting class here. Okay, thank you very much. That was good. So, the next, yes, please just ask the microphone down there. Rationale, why should we use active learning?
We use active learning to make sure that students are the central, the focus of learning activity. And the student will be able to retain, recall, higher percentage of what they learning.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for that. So, some techniques for active learning. Okay.
Share the students into groups.
Okay.
Ask them, they are going to share most content.
Okay. Okay.
Using either PowerPoint.
Okay.
Storytelling.
Okay.
And we also involve the students to assess during presentation.
Okay.
We can also create an online forum, probably every week, to produce a new topic.
Okay.
Whereby each of the students
Thank you. Those are some of the techniques. There are so many techniques, and I'll be glad to share some other techniques with us for active learning from this group. This active group, you are ready. Oh, that means we can do two active things at the same time. Okay, let's listen to you.
Would have been there.
I'm the class captain for this part.
Oh, fantastic.
It encourages students to be responsible learners.
Okay.
Active learning encourages students to be responsible learners. Also, effective knowledge retention.
Okay.
Participatory and dynamic.
Bring my water.
I can see that you are holding your phone in your left hand. Fantastic.
And this is active learning.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we get the gist. But when we're going to it, how, if we want to encourage this kind of active learning, I actually focus on active learning because we have issues with large classrooms. There's nowhere, but it's also good for small classrooms, but in every faculty, and I know especially here, we have that issue. So even if it's lecture, we can support it with technology. If it's discussion, anything we can support with technology. But particularly, we want to make it active so that our students in the active group up there were told that the students take responsibility for their learning. The other group there also mentioned it, that the students are involved. And once you are involved in, you remember, you retain better. And of course, a lot of advantages of using technology, but especially in the classroom. That's what we're talking about. Then don't forget that these are a generation that we call tech savvy. They are the next generation. Even when you say they shouldn't use phones in your class, they can be pinging and WhatsApping and Facebooking. So why don't you use that forum to reach out to them? So that's one of the reasons. So if we're talking about technology enhanced learning, I said we just look at it in three areas: planning, then the presentation, and the assessment. And I'll be showing you some of the examples of things that we have done and some of the things that we can also do. Planning. Of course, planning, we can use existing online courses. And here we're going to do another activity. We can use technology, of course, to prepare our PowerPoints and so on. Then we can use various active learning techniques. One of the most easy to deploy strategies. By the way, when doctor over there was listing her 10 strategies. I said they were not strategies because they actually what we call techniques. They could occur under any strategy. Although here you may, interchange, but that's what we refer to as techniques. So they are still part of what we use in the classroom. So there are so many activities. I was going to say one that's very easy to use in a large class, and that is what we call think, hear, and share. You ask a question, they think about it, they write it down, they share with the person beside them on the right, on the left, they gather more ideas, and then anybody that is confident enough to talk about it or a group, they present it. So you get them involved in learning, and that can be supported by technology with what we just did. Watching a video on the concept you want to present, and there are so many of them. It may not be a video, you might share notes before the class and say read this, and this, and then you come to do the application in the classroom, which we call flipped learning. So there are so many techniques that we can use. Okay, so in this one, you are going to go to YouTube on your phones. Okay? Another time to bring out your phone, please. Oh, so sorry. And you can share with people around. So let's go to YouTube. I'm waiting. They are waiting. Okay? Are you on YouTube now? Are you there? It's not good enough. Okay, find somebody to share with. Hold on, I'm waiting. So find somebody that will use YouTube beside that. As YouTube, the phone is on beside you. We are going to look at this material by Professor Peter Ofekubola. What are OERs? So if you go into search, I can see people putting out their phones or their mobile devices. Because you have nothing to write, you don't do it. Okay. What are open educational resources by Peter A. Ofekubola? Just search for it. Yes. Okay. Let's see who has it again. Okay. Yes, you are there. I want to see quite a number of people open that. It's 23 minutes, they're not listening to it, but there's a reason. You can start watching as other people get onto it. Because I just want to show us how we can use that in the classroom. Good. Of course, you could have downloaded the video. But if you have not downloaded, it's something that we can still use. Now that video tells us about what OERs are, open educational resources, what they are, the 3 hours of OER, the 6 hours of OER, and why they are needful, and quite a number of things. By the way, it has a channel on YouTube, and a lot of things about OERs are there. So why am I focusing on OERs? Because they are open, they are free, And quite a number of them have different kinds of what we call attribution. You can use them, you can adapt them, you can modify them depending on the license that they bear. But basically, they are all free. And there are courses there. We will look at some examples. And UI also is moving in that direction. In fact, I looked at some of the OERs on UI website, and I saw that Faculty of Arts is also represented. There are some materials there. So these OERs are very useful for planning, especially if you want to begin to use technology. You will have PowerPoint slides there, you have videos there, you have different kinds of resources. My time is up. Okay, so you can use that, and I'll show you some of the OERs that we can go to. We have an African Virtual University, and there are a lot of courses there. I need a lot of courses. I wanted each group to open one of these things so that you can find out a course that is related to your own course. There are diverse history, language, and things. So if you are looking for resources to support your classes, you will always find it. To plan, if you're planning. In fact, you could have given those students the web links to go there, read this, go through the slides, go through the maybe course notes or whatever. We also have OER Africa. We have OER Africa, we have OER Commons. I'm sure this will be given to all participants, so you'll find it there. We have the other one, where the OERs are. Okay? Then we have the University of Ibadan OER is located http learning resource, learningresource.ui.edu.ng. So there are so many of these OERs that you can find virtually anything you need to support your class, to make it better, to make it more enjoyable, and to plan very well. So we won't be able to carry out that activity. The activity was for you to go to the different OERs and find a course that relates to what you are teaching or what you will be teaching next session. And then we will put it on what we call a Padlet. I hope I'll be able to open it and show the Padlet. Yeah. Because that's another active learning strategy. There's a tool called Padlet. I had already created a Faculty of Arts Padlet page. And we're supposed to go there. The link will still be there. It will still remain active. So if after this class, you can do this work and then go and paste it there. And you're supposed to walk around along the walls, there and see the presentation of other people on the Padlet. Thank you for the support. Okay, I said I'll just show us just the can I forget from this one? You have it. Because some people asked about how do we do the large class, and I just wanted to show us the learning management system that we use. Of course, in this faculty, Facebook has been used effectively for language classes, and I know I met a lecturer from this faculty who has used Twitter before, some of the social media tools that can be used to enhance the classes. But this learning management system enables us to capture all our students, even according to their departments, however large they are. And on it, we post all the assignments, we post before class, because it's a large class, we know the limitations of the large class. So all the resources they will need would have been sent to them earlier, and they would look at it. I even have one of my modules where I presented the class on the YouTube. If you Google, you'll find it on YouTube. If you search, you'll find it there. So, because it's a class that takes a long time, So if they now come, they have gone through that, they come to do the work in the class. So you can use technology, you can leverage your technology in various areas. There's another tool called Schoology, which I have used successfully for my PhD students who are always in different parts of the nation. And we conduct classes on the Schoology platform. Sorry, I won't be able to show all that now. And then finally, for assessment, I created another assessment tool. When you get this, it will still be open, so you can go there and you can. You have a quiz there. There's a tool called Quizlet, and with that quiz, you can do assessment for your students quickly. On Edmodo too, you can do the assessment and you mark them and they get their results. But the thing about technology is when you are hooked to it, you are everywhere with it. I will see myself, maybe even on a holiday, I'm grading the students, but my mobile phone is there, my mobile device is there. I can quickly go onto the platform, let them have immediate feedback of what they are asking for, because many of them cannot ask questions in the classroom. So they have different kinds of tools like that. And of course, I talked about the Quizlet. Don't worry. Thank you.